Hey, what's going on guys? John here, and today we're going to be going over a guide on how to do the Grandmaster Nightfall for the Devil's Lair strike. But before we jump into this, I ask if you want to keep up to date on all Destiny 2 news, information, links, tutorials, and more, that you go and subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, let's jump into it. So before we actually jump into things, I'm just going to give a quick rundown of what the Grandmaster Nightfall is all about, if you haven't been keeping up. So the strike difficulty is going to be at 1350 power. The minimum power required to even start the thing is 1325. There is a permanent contest mode enabled, so that means even if you're above 1325, you're going to be capped at 1325. Another thing is there's going to be a total of 5 Grandmaster Nightfall strikes per season, which change on a weekly rotation. Also, don't worry if you miss out on any weeks, because starting on April 20th for this season, you will be able to choose directly whichever Nightfall you want to play. And lastly, you may be asking, why would I want to do a Grandmaster Nightfall? Well, some of the rewards you can get is the Conqueror title, as well as the Gilded Conqueror title. And you can also acquire Adept mods, as well as Adept versions of the Swarm light machine gun, the Palindrome hand cannon, and the Shadow Price auto rifle, which are all pretty fantastic, as well as an increase to the usual Nightfall rewards. With that being said, before we actually jump into breaking down each of the sections of the Nightfall, I'm going to go over the stuff that I was using, in case you're having trouble and you just want to sort of replicate what I was doing. So firstly, the class I was playing was Warlock. I was playing on the Well of Radiance Warlock. When it comes to loadout, I was using Izanagi's Burden with Catalyst, and then I also use Point of the Stag Bow, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure you can grab both from the exotic kiosk in the tower if you don't have them. If you're not sure where that's at, that's the golden vendor thing in between the two vault terminals in the tower. And lastly, I was using the Commemoration from the Deepstone Crypt raid. That's the Void light machine gun. Now, when it comes to armor, for exotic, I was using the Aeon gauntlets. I think I was using Sect of Insight. I'm not entirely sure on that. I think that's the blue one. That gives you ammo on champion finishers. When it comes to this Nightfall, I do recommend that everyone does run the Aeon gauntlets, and everyone does run a different role on the Aeon gauntlets, because they are extremely good. Obviously, make sure you have your champion mods, but when it comes to other mods on my armor, I had a pretty simplistic protective light build that I actually went over within my Charge of Light video that I posted yesterday. However, when it comes to using certain builds, they're not really necessary in this Nightfall at least. But if you have a hard time staying alive, using something like a protective light build will help you stay alive a lot. And the last set of mods I just had all over my armor, which was ammo finders and such for my weapons. It's always extremely important to have that in these Grandmaster Nightfalls, because sometimes ammo can be a little scarce. Now, moving on to my teammate, I did have another Warlock. He was running Phoenix Protocol and no build at all, but he did have a bunch of ammo finders and stuff on. Now, he was actually our div bitch. I do recommend having a div bitch, because there is a lot of overloads, and it can be a little difficult to kill them without a divinity person. He also was running a scout rifle for anti-barrier. And then lastly, for his heavy, he was running the 7 Seraph LMG. However, I don't think I would recommend running the 7 Seraph LMG if you're going to copy his loadout exactly. I think I would put in something like the Avalanche or something, some sort of solar heavy weapon, or maybe another Void heavy weapon. Again, when it comes to heavy weapons, it's sort of up to you. Just one person at least needs to be running like a Void LMG, because that is pretty important in the boss fight. Then lastly, breaking down my last teammate here, he was a hunter running the, I want to say it's Top Tree Tether. It's the one where you're able to spam it a bunch. I'm not really a hunter player, so let me know if I got that wrong. Anyways, he was running a sniper and a scout rifle for a double anti-barrier. I don't really recommend that. I think everyone should be running, at least in this Nightfall, anti-barrier and overload. And lastly, for his heavy weapon, he was running Anarchy, which actually proved to be pretty useful. I didn't think it was going to be that useful, but it ended up being pretty useful, as he was able to stick some Anarchy to the boss and damage the boss while we were taking out the ads. However, you could definitely replace this Anarchy with an Izanagi's Burden. And again, this this other dude was not really running a build at all. He just had some ammo stuff, and for his exotic, he was running 6 Coyote, so he could get a second charge on his dodge. So that way he could just keep getting smoke bombs super fast. However, I can definitely see you replacing the 6 Coyote with the Omni Oculus, the brand new Hunter chest piece that gives you damage resistance while invisible, as well as double smoke nades. Again, it's kind of up to you. If I had it my way, I'd have an Izanagi, and then either a Never Izanagi or an Anarchy, and then lastly a Divinity. It's really important to have that Divinity because it really helps out the Izanagis get all that bonus damage, as well as stunning those champions. And considering the strike is sort of so spaced out, I think you can definitely get away with running triple Aeon gauntlets and having no super spam exotics. Again, in my playthrough, we only had one super spam exotic, and even then I didn't really feel like we used it that much. Now we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and break down the different sections of the strike and sort of what to do. So in that first section where you just spawn in, when you spawn in right away, make sure you watch out for that ship because it's going to come down right away, and if it shoots you, if you don't have the proper mods on, it's going to be a one-hit kill. The whole main idea of this Grandmaster is there's a lot of open space in the areas and a lot of hidey spots, so just sort of take it slow. And so in this first section, you're going to want to clear everything out, and you want to sort of stick to the right side because there's not very many ads over there. But anyways, once you make your way to the end of this section, there'll be a overload champion that you want to go ahead and kill, and once you kill the overload champion, you should be able to just run by. Next up, the next major section we're going to talk about is the scanning section. Before you actually start the thing, make sure you completely clear out the room. I actually don't think you can start it till you completely clear out the room, but if that's not the case, make sure you clear out the room first. And actually, before you start it, make sure you restock on ammo because surely there's going to be a lot of ammo on the floor. But anyways, once you have started it, this is going to seem like a weird thing, but you want to go over by this box that was sort of by where you came in. And don't freak out, even though the ads are going to be spawning right there, they're going to run right by you. For some reason, the way it's been coded, it's been like this since Destiny 1. This is a Destiny 1 strat. The ads, for some reason, just don't like coming near this box. The whole idea with this section is you're going to let all the ads spawn in, maybe kill a few as soon as they're spawning in, and then you're going to slowly creep up and just start taking out the ads. Make sure you're also paying attention to how many enemies are left because this is sort of key to the strat here, because once you take out a wave of ads, another wave is going to spawn right away. So basically what you want to do is sit behind the box, wait for them all to spawn in, you sort of creep up behind them and you kill them all, and then once you kill the last one, you want to book it back to that box and rinse and repeat. And that's pretty much all there is to this area, so it should be pretty easy to do. Anyways, moving on to the next area is going to be the Fallen Walker area. So when you first enter the area, there's going to be a barrier servitor. Basically, you just want to try and take out that barrier servitor right away, and you're just going to slowly take out all the ads that are in that close area, and then eventually the Walker and the 2 Brigs are going to spawn. You do have to kill both Brigs and the Walker. I recommend by hanging by this little building in the back. It is very important here when doing this section that you pay attention for that red laser beam because that Fallen Walker is going to one-shot you, so make sure you are very attentive here. First up, what we're going to do here is we're just going to, like I said, hang around the building. You're going to use the building as cover, and what you're going to want to do is take out the right Brig first, because when you do that, that's going to make the left Brig come up closer, and it'll make the left Brig easier to kill. And once you kill the right Brig, make sure you clear out the ads that were also sort of surrounding it. And after that, you want to move on to the left one, kill that, clear out some of the ads. Now, while you may want to go after the Walker next, I highly recommend going after the champions that are in the area next, or the champions that will just be spawning in. Because there is a bunch of overloads, which they hurt and they do get up close. And the other thing is, there is a barrier servitor, another one that spawns in, that will be giving a lot of protection to a lot of snipers and yellow bars. And so that's why it's sort of important that we get rid of that barrier first, and then you go after the overloads, and then you go after the ads, and then you go after the Walker. Because even though the Walker is sort of the main objective here, you do have a lot of cover to hide from it. And also, when you have all those enemies up, it's going to make it an absolute pain to try and take it out. So that's why I recommend taking it out in that order. And finally, after you take out that section, we should be moving on to the final boss. One thing I'd like to make very apparent here is when you get to the door opening to the final boss, there is 2 Overload champions sitting right there. So do not run ahead of everyone, otherwise you'll be instantly obliterated. But yeah, when you open that door together, there's gonna be 2 Overloads, and you're basically just gonna have to try and melt them with your Izanagi and Divinity. Now, in order to actually start the boss fight, you have to kill all the ads, so if you maybe don't have your ammo topped off, I recommend keeping at least 1 Dreg alive, so that way you can go ahead and top off all your ammo. And then you're gonna want to kill that final Dreg to start the boss fight, and you're gonna want to go either hide in the right or left corner underneath the main stage. Now, sort of the whole strat to this boss fight is just to abuse that underneath cover section, because the ads do not really come under there. There are some that come under there, and I will make this known now. There's a total of 1 champion that spawns during this entire fight. It's an Overload champion, and he will come under there and screw you up, but that's only halfway through the fight. Anyways, basically what you're going to want to do is burn the boss health till he gets to his immune phase. When he becomes immune, he's going to go up in the middle and have 4 mini servitors protect him. These 4 mini servitors, this is where the void ammo comes in handy, because these void servitors have a void shield, and there's 4 of them. However, don't try and kill these servitors right away. What you're going to want to do during this immune phase is you're going to want to use it to take time to clear out all the ads, because if you don't, you're going to get overran fast. But yeah, once you've taken out the ads, all you have to do is kill the servitors and start the damage phase again. And then you just melt the boss to the next immune phase. Use that immune phase to clear out all the ads, and then you take out the servitors, and then you melt him again and he'll be dead. Pretty simple. Just make sure you abuse that underneath section of the arena. And pay attention to when enemies run under there, because eventually they don't really run under there, but eventually some will do. But yeah, with that being said, that pretty much ends it for this Grandmaster Nightfall tutorial. As someone who's done a lot of Grandmaster Nightfalls, I'd probably have to say this lands on the easier side of the difficulty spectrum when it comes to these Nightfalls. Let me know in the comments down below if you found this easy or hard. Anyways, this was H. John, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.